I was drowning in stuff. My closet was overflowing with clothes I never wore. And somehow, despite having everything, I felt empty. Then I stumbled onto something that changed everything: 7 Japanese principles that thousands of people have practiced for generations. Not because they're trendy, because they work. Within 3 months of applying these secrets, my apartment felt like I could breathe again. My mind felt clearer. And for the first time in years, I woke up with actual purpose. Sounds impossible? Stick with me. Because what I'm about to share isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you bought something you thought would make you happy, and 3 months later, it's collecting dust? Danshari is a 3-part philosophy that literally means refuse, dispose, separate. But here's what makes it different from Western minimalism. It's not about owning less. It's about preventing your possessions from owning you. Here's how it works. Dan means refuse. Stop letting unnecessary things enter your life in the first place. Sha means discard. Let go of items that bring no actual benefit to your daily life. Re is where it gets deep, detaching emotionally from things that no longer serve you. I started with my bedroom, and I asked myself 3 questions about every single item. Do I use this regularly? Does it genuinely make my life better? Would I buy this again today? If the answer was no to all 3, it left. Within 2 weeks, I had removed 40% of what I owned from that room. And you know what happened? I didn't miss a single thing. Instead, I felt this weird sense of lightness. Now, let's talk about something that completely flipped how I think about food. Growing up, I was taught to finish everything on my plate. But the Okinawans, who live longer than almost anyone on Earth, do the exact opposite. They practice Hara Hachi Bu, eating until you're 80% full, not 100%. Wait, 80%? How do you even know when you're 80% full? Here's the trick. It takes your brain about 20 minutes to register fullness. So the Okinawans eat slowly. They savor every bite. They pause mid-meal. They stop when they're satisfied, not stuffed. And the results? Lower rates of heart disease, diabetes, and obesity, better sleep, sharper minds, and longer lives. But here's what blew my mind. This isn't a diet. It's mindfulness. It's respect for your body's signals instead of ignoring them. I started practicing this 3 months ago. At first, it felt weird leaving food on my plate. But now, I have more energy after meals instead of that heavy, sluggish feeling. I actually taste my food instead of inhaling it. What if you tried this at just one meal tomorrow? You might be surprised at how much less you need to feel more. For 3 years, I had a job that paid well. Everyone thought I made it. But every Sunday night, I felt this dread in my chest, like I was living someone else's life. Then I learned about Ikigai, your reason for being. It's not just about finding the perfect career. It's about discovering what makes you come alive. And here's the framework that changed everything for me. Imagine 4 overlapping circles. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for. Your Ikigai lives at the center, where all 4 meet. Now here's the beautiful part. Research shows people with a clear Ikigai live an average of 7 years longer. They have lower rates of cardiovascular disease. They report higher life satisfaction. Because when you wake up with purpose, everything shifts. I started mapping my own Ikigai. I realized I loved helping people simplify their lives. I was good at researching and communicating ideas. The world needed more calm in the chaos. And yes, I could build something around this. This channel. It's my Ikigai in action. So let me ask you, what would you do if money wasn't an issue? What makes you lose track of time? What problem in the world genuinely frustrates you? Your Ikigai is hiding in those answers. Here's something I bet you've never heard before. In Japan, when a bowl breaks, they repair it with gold. It's called kintsugi. And instead of hiding the cracks, they highlight them, making the broken bowl even more beautiful than before. That's Wabi-Sabi. Finding beauty in imperfection and incompleteness. And honestly, this one hit me hard. I used to think I had to have everything figured out. Perfect body, perfect career, perfect life, and every time I fell short, I felt like a failure. But Wabi-Sabi taught me something radical. Your imperfections are what make you interesting. That scar on your hand, it tells a story. Those laugh lines, evidence of joy. That project that didn't work out, a lesson that made you wiser. Studies show that self-acceptance, embracing your flaws instead of fighting them, significantly reduces anxiety and depression. It actually improves motivation because you stop wasting energy trying to be someone you're not. I used to set these massive goals. I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to learn Japanese. I'm going to completely transform my life. And by the end of the month, I'd given up on all of them. Then I discovered Kaizen, the art of tiny, continuous improvements. Here's the concept. Instead of overhauling your entire life overnight, you make one small change each day, so small, it feels almost laughable. Want to read more? Read 1 page before bed. Want to get fit? Do 5 push-ups. Want to learn a language? Study for 2 minutes. The Japanese call it the 1-minute principle. If something takes 1 minute or less, do it immediately. And here's why this works. Small actions don't trigger resistance. Your brain doesn't freak out because the change feels manageable. I started applying Kaizen to my mornings. Just 5 minutes of stretching. That's it. 3 months later, I'm doing full 30-minute yoga sessions without even thinking about it. So, here's my challenge for you. Pick one tiny improvement for the next 7 days. Just one. And comment below what you're choosing. I want to hear it. You know what the Japanese discovered that we completely forgot? Empty space is just as important as filled space. They call it the pause, the gap, the silence between notes. In a traditional Japanese room, you might see almost nothing. A single flower arrangement, a tatami mat, and the walls with no decorations. Because when your physical space is cluttered, your mental space becomes cluttered. When every moment is scheduled, you have no room for inspiration. When your calendar is packed, you can't hear yourself think. Matt teaches us that rest isn't laziness, silence isn't awkward, and space isn't wasted. I started building into my life 6 months ago. I blocked off Sunday mornings for nothing. No agenda, no plans. Just space to breathe, think, wander, and that's when the best ideas started coming. Last one. And this might be the most powerful. Shinrin Yoku means forest bathing, but it's not hiking, it's not exercising, it's simply being in nature with all your senses open. Studies show that spending just 2 hours in a forest increases your natural killer cells, the ones that fight cancer, by 40 to 50%. It lowers cortisol, reduces blood pressure, improves sleep, fights depression and anxiety. All from trees releasing chemicals called phytoncides that we breathe in. Even 15 minutes in an urban park provides measurable stress relief. I started doing this every Saturday morning. No phone, no agenda, just walking slowly, noticing everything. The rustling leaves, the bird calls, the smell of pine, and I leave feeling like I hit a reset button. You don't need a forest, a park, or a tree-lined street works. Just get outside and breathe. These 7 secrets didn't fix my life overnight. But together, they gave me something I'd lost. Simplicity. So here's your takeaway. Pick one of these principles. Just one. Try it for 7 days and see what shifts. And if this resonated with you, drop a comment telling me which secret you're starting with. I read every single one. Because simplicity isn't about having less, it's about making room for more of what truly matters.